What time it is when you're watching this. Let me check the final thing. There we are. Now I think we are live and well and kicking. Hope you had a good day so far. Hope you're waking up to have a fantastic day. I had a great day today. And I had a great week, in fact, because it's almost Christmas. And this week, finally, it's getting a bit colder. The problem when it gets colder, as you might have known or might have realized, depending on where you are, not looking at you, Australia, but am looking at you, Canada, is that it comes snow. And when the snow is pouring down, you have a big driveway and you need to clear it, and you're all alone and you have a small shovel, it's a very tedious job to be able to do that. And if you're going to go at it alone, trying to clear that entire driveway, you have two options. Either you could work hard by yourself and you can get that done, of course, or, and this is a much better way, you can ask a friend to help you out. And if you ask a friend, chances are they actually have some more tools, or maybe they even have a tractor to clear that driveway. And chances are it's going to get done much, much faster than if you were going at it alone. Because you can, of course, do that, but it's much better to work together. And as if on cue, talking about together, the fabulous Doreen, look at this, look at the transition now. Just joined us, look at that. And the fabulous Alan coming in right there as well. It's almost like that's rehearsed. I spent about 4 hours practicing clicking that button. So good evening, I'm going to say, because it's 6 o'clock at night here. How are you guys?
Great, Joel. How are you?
Great.
I am awesome. I just got a cup of coffee and it's really hot. It's really nice. The topic of today was community. What do you guys think? I mentioned shoveling snow on the driveway. I know you, Alan, you don't have that issue because you have a tractor or a 4-wheel drive car or big muscles. But why do we need communities? Why do we need other people? Isn't that just a pain in the butt trying to work together?
My short answer for that one is that if I knew everything, I wouldn't need anyone else. But I don't. Yeah, there's people with great skills, and there's also people that you can help with your skills. So it's a two-way sword, or yeah, it works both ways for sure.
Yeah.
And I love the team dynamic. Just being able to rely on someone and ask a question or get a quick answer or sit and go deep. It's just, I'm a people person and I need people, just who I am.
Yeah. And I think one of the big things that has occurred to me, I mean, I left the army, which is a very, very group dynamic, heavy place. You work together all the time. You have to work together. And I came from a background where the team is the most important aspect. You were acting alone. You didn't have anyone. You couldn't rely on anyone else from the outside. You had to work together in the team, and it had to work, and you had to be able to rely on other people. And then I left that world, and I went into the civil world where you don't have that. And I started my business. And when I started my business, I had a realization that it hadn't occurred to me. My dad started his business, and I grew up in a family where both mom and dad were business owners, and they ran their own businesses, but they worked alone. They were solopreneurs. And I realized, I thought that was like a good thing because you were working and all that, but it's a very lonely world when you run your own business, especially when you're a small business. And I still, to this day, we're 16 people now. I still work from home. I work from here. There's no one else. Oh, my wife is here, but it's still a very lonely place. And I think that is an important aspect of it as well. We need that community. We need other people. And I think we're kind of designed for it. And working alone in a business is extremely lonely. That's my experience, at least.
Yeah, and there's so many people who are working alone, and they're spinning their wheels. A lot of them are productive as well. It's not all bad, but it is tough to work alone. You can get siloed into things that you really need to pass off to somebody else, or you're not good at it. It really is tough to work alone.
Yeah.
I've tried it, and it's much better with a team. You can bounce things off people. You get their ideas. You can, joke with them. You can have fun. You can, yeah. It is an important piece that is missing in a lot of solo entrepreneurs that are building online platforms, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say the idea too of the silo is that the more experience we have working with, growing what we're growing as a team, then we also can offer that to others.
Yep.
It's because we're deep in challenge when we're trying new things, and deep in, imposter syndrome, and am I doing it right? Is this the best way? Well, there's a million ways to do it, but what's the simplest? What's the quickest? What's the easiest and the safest way to go out and do something? And I think working with a team, especially starting out, I know your teams get different when you're making the money and you've got the ability to pay, for the big services, we'll call it, or the more complex services. But when you're starting out, it's like, how do I start? How do I, well, there's 100 ways to go, 100, and you're off one path and on one path and on another path and off one path. So it gets really, really complex, and people have a hard time moving, getting comfortable in where they are now. I'm finding when I coach. So.
And I mean, you don't have anyone to ask either. I think that was one of the things that kind of struck me when I started. Of course, I could ask my dad, who's run a business a long time, but he ran a traditional. He worked in the forest, and he purchased like timber. That was his job. That's what he did. So I mean, he couldn't really help me out when I said, "Well, I'm looking to buy this or do this business and build it online. How do we do this?" He had no idea. You drive out to the people you want to meet and you buy their timber. Yeah, right. It doesn't really work that way. So who do I ask about this? And you find, like, to me, these you can find all the answers on Google, obviously, if you're looking for something. But who do you ask, and who do you have this? I don't know how you say that in English. Like the small talk with. Who do you talk about business stuff, or like the things you don't really have anyone to talk to? I think to me that's an aspect that we're missing out on. And basically the entire world of solopreneurs, coaches, consultants, all of these, we're missing out on that. Why don't we create like a network of people? Why don't we tie that together? There's a bunch of Facebook groups and stuff like that, but why don't we actually tie that together? If anyone knows if I'm missing out on something, please let me know. If you have a fantastic solution for this, but I think it's a lonely career.
Yeah, very much agreed, 100% on that one. Yeah.
And it doesn't really get better if you start out. Let's say you start out going to the university, becoming a doctor. You study, you work with a group of people. Then you go out and you start working in the real world, and you work with a team of people. And as you progress through this, you always have people around you. When you start your business, you have no one, and you're still gonna have no one 10 years from there, because no one really understands how your business works. Even if you have a team, no one really understands. So you have to have that dynamic, and you have to work with people.
It's interesting when you say you have no one, and when you clarify you have no one who, basically what I understood is support you, to really, because often when you're starting out, at least that's my experience, and what I hear from clients is you have a lot of naysayers around you, people who just don't believe in what you're doing, or so you have also the opposite, right? So
Yeah.
when you have a team, when you have people who either have been there, done that, or know people who've been there and done that, you get more of a sense of comfort, and that loneliness is isolated if you're not around people who have been through the pain and the struggle that you either have been through, or and you've worked with people who have and helped them through it. So it's very different. I can deal with the naysayers as long as I have other people who I can go and talk to about it.
A quick question. I have a sound that sounds off. Do you hear that as well, or is that on my end?
No, it's my pen. I realized it's my pen. Is it?
No, it's actually something else. It sounds like a faulty contact to a microphone or something like that. And I was just curious if it's on my end or if anyone else is hearing that.
No, it's Doreen. Something going on in your end, Doreen.
Really?
Oh,
Is it my, where do
yeah,
I
I
When
check
think
you
my,
it
talk,
is. I
there's
think so.
a bad something. Yeah.
See
it's
if
not
you
my
can.
pen?
No.
No.
See if you can unplug or restart the microphone. I'll switch you off for just a second while you do
Sounds
that. You
Yeah.
good.
give me the thumbs
Yeah.
up then. Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Sounds good. Yeah. So while Doreena's gone, I rely on her heavily to verify, not verify content, but to get feedback on content.
Yeah.
In my experience in tech, I used to create cheat sheets and tech notes and all sorts of documents that were very technical, and
Yeah.
I would go out for lunch with my good working friend, and we would look at that together. And the ideas and the input he gave me
Yeah.
improved the content, like you can't even calculate how much it improved it. So
Yeah.
I was missing things. I was putting things in the wrong. Anyways, it was just, and after a while, it just got to be a process that we would do that anytime I created a tip sheet
Yeah.
or anything. We'd sit down together, we'd go through it, we'd have a pizza and work our way through it. So it really, for us, built a good, strong camaraderie.
Yeah.
And another aspect of that is that when you're building a program and you're putting it out there for the first time, it's really important to engage your community.
Yeah.
I'm trying to create a little cheat sheet on that, actually, because you have to also go out to different communities: LinkedIn, Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook, Reddit, all over the place, basically, to see what your community is talking about, how they're saying it, what's important to them, and most importantly, to find out where they hang out. Because when you start promoting your program, knowing where they hang out on social media is a big bonus.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really important part of community. It wraps around your program and what you're doing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Most
It's
definitely.
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Good topic, Joel. Good topic.
Let's see if Doreen is back and if it's working. Give me a thumbs up if you think it's okay again, and I'll let you back in. I don't want to let you in before you are ready for it, but I think she might be in a bit. The thing with community as well is one of the things that I've noticed is that you can basically create a business around creating a community.
Mhm.
And I mean, most of the times you have like, hey, you bought this thing, and when you buy this thing, you can also join our community, or that's part of what we buy this and you. But I mean, when you end up in that community, most of the time, not all the time. I mean, nowadays we have a gazillion of those. We're members of 48 million groups on Facebook, and all of them with the weird like at everyone tag, which I think was a big mistake to add, because all of a sudden you're always tagged in everything everywhere. You kind of lose track on where we at with this. And I think we're losing with the social media side of this. I'm going to let Doreen back in now and see if it works for her. Now you're back. One of the
Hi,
big things.
is my audio better?
I hope so. Maybe. Let's see.
We'll
Okay,
see, Doreen. Yeah, that's interesting. An interesting technical issue today.
which most of us deal with often.
What I was going to say, one of the things I think we kind of miss out on, especially in this digital area, you can meet people, but do they actually remember what we talked about last time? Do they actually know you? And I mean, I'm not talking about you have your best friends in real life. You can go visit them most of the time, but you also have your acquaintances and the people in the online space. But do you have anyone to actually talk to, like in that area? Can you actually meet other people and connect with them? And 2 days later, they still remember what we talked about. I think the downside of social media in many ways is that everyone is connected. So all of a sudden, no one is connected. That's how it feels to me. And I actually, over the last 2 weeks, I have spent 0 minutes on Facebook. 0. The reason being my phone won't connect, obviously. Otherwise, I'm a junkie. I would have been on it. But what I realized over these 2 weeks is I talked to friends. I've called people and I had a different way to communicate with others. And that leads me to think in my mind that we need to create smaller communities. We need to create these these communities where people actually meet physically or virtually like this and actually have real conversations, not this screaming back and forth somewhere, but actually having communities. And I think tying those communities together around something important, something specific, I think that's an important piece of this. It could be anything, but I think creating these smaller, tight knitter communities instead of these big groups that we do, I think that's an important piece. Of course, we can create groups for marketing purposes. We have groups. You might see this in one of those groups. That's the reality. We have that as well. But that's the marketing side of things, right? Let's not be try to hide that or shy away from it. That's the marketing side of stuff. But I think when you're actually working or talking with other people, you need to get these tighter groups. I don't know. Does that make sense to you guys, or is it just me?
That is a really complicated topic because, like you, I see that communities can be very distracting. They can take you away from your business, from doing your work, from whatever you're working on.
Yeah.
But maybe we need that escape. So that's why for me it's very complicated. It's not a it's bad or it's good. I think if people are spending so much time on their social media feeds and they can't get time to do the things that they need to do and the things they enjoy doing, if it's not social media, then they need to think about making some changes in January.
Yeah. Definitely. I want to show you something. While I fix that, I'll be here for a second. So please go ahead, Doreen. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so one of the things about the smaller groups compared to the bigger groups, I really think it depends on the purpose of the community and what your outcome. The reason I'll say is I did a course where there were over 700 people in our group. And it was fabulous because you got to meet so many people in the breakouts. It served its purpose in networking and having conversations with people, side conversations. It was brilliant. Smaller groups get intimate and they get personal.
Yeah.
And it really depends if that's what you're missing when you talk about loneliness or when Alan talks about distractions and getting you off track. I think that the smaller group, you've got to pay attention to your personality. If a smaller group can help you stay on track because you easily get off track, then you're serving, I think what Alan is saying, the small group can serve you and find them or make them. But if the larger group is what you need because you need networking, you're not a networker. You've got to learn the skill of communication and connecting and talking about what you do, then I think the bigger group can help. So to me, it's about purpose. It's about, paying attention to what you need, where you are versus, the shiny star out there that you're reaching for. Pay attention to what you need now to move to the next step.
Yeah.
And the step after that, and the step after that, and help get clarity around those steps. Then find the right communities or make your own community, if you have the time and energy, etc. There's a lot that's in that, all of that, but
yeah. I wanted to show you, talking about distractions in communities. I want to show you something. I'm a gamer, right? I play games, quite a few. And over the years, I've played quite a lot of games. This is one of the games that I spent the most time on. And this is a fairly big community. But I want to show you something. Because by the end of the day, we think we're not spending time on weird stuff. But let me show you this. I don't know if you can see right here the amount of hours it says I've played this one specific game. I played over 897 hours of this game. And why am I showing you a screen of one of the games I play? What I mean by this is you will get sucked in communities, into places, whether you like it or not. So why not be cautious about where you actually spend the time? I had a great time playing this game. Don't get me wrong, right? But what could I have done with 900 hours? That's half a year of working hours that I've spent playing a game, which was fun. But imagine what I could have gotten done in that time.
But there is a community in that game too, right?
Yeah.
You
Not
guys are
in the
talking
game per
and
se, but the community is, because this is a huge simulation. You play big simulations, right? So the community is on YouTube where you watch other people play. Guess how many thousands of hours I watched that? Or you watch tutorials, or you read you spend that time. I spent that time, thousands and thousands of hours on that. I think I've spent more time talking to others about playing the game than I've spent actually playing the game. So what I mean by this is you will spend the time. The question is only where do you spend it and in what context. And I had a great time. I'm not trash talking Europe and Universal. It's a wonderful community. And I like the time. But still, we have to understand where do we actually want to go with it.
Mhm.
I'd like to raise a point about community. I think, and this whole key about what you're saying about the hours and yes, in conversation, actually playing. So you're evaluating where you spend time and how valuable it is to you or not valuable. And one of the clients I was coaching mentioned that after making a big career change, like totally huge career change 2 years ago,
Yeah.
became very isolated and lonely doing what she's doing and trying to sort of manage, spent tons of money, spent tons of, joined a bunch of things and did all kinds of stuff. But guess the one thing she was really, really missing is personal contact, face to face, because of what we experienced with COVID too.
Yeah.
And it was during that time, so that it's no blame or shame on having to be digitally connected. But that was one thing that she came up with, how can I go out and start actually meeting people and having coffee and joining people? That is a community where she's having 2, 3, 4 people get together or going to a church community. So paying attention to what our needs are and coming back to that, because, we have come out and through a difficult time. Our time is precious. Every moment is precious. And depending on what stage of life you're at, we lost our son-in-law at 33 years old. His time was precious up to 33 years old. So we don't know how precious our time is until it's gone. And so paying attention to that when we do, like you say, spend all those hours. I know for me, I'm big into crosswords and Scrabble and that kind of stuff. And I can spend hours and hours and I'm going, oh yeah, but I promised I would do that for Alan, or I think I have to connect to Joel, or I have to do this, or, it's going on when you're doing it. You're going, okay, no. It's important to step back. I isolated myself and now I'm going to actually connect with my team. So it's a journey.
It is. And one of the things that if I think back in my life, one of the things that made a lot of difference to me was a time when I realized, when I was sitting in a very, very, I'm not going to say bad, but it was a bit lacking, so to speak, office. One of the places when we did not have money, like at all. When I was sitting there, I realized that if I stay here in this room trying to do something, and I'm trying to do that alone, I will never get anywhere. I will sit here 10 years from now and it will be the same. I have to meet others and I have to get out and I have to talk to others, because when we talk to others, opportunities open up. That's how we met. We talked to each other and we found opportunities, and that's how we changed things. And if we connect this back to the business side of things, if we want more clients, then we have to talk to more people. And if we don't know how to talk to more people, then we have to talk to more people to learn how to talk to more people. We have to do something. We have to step out of that comfort zone, stop being comfortable, fat, and lazy. I'm not saying fat physically. We have to stop setting stuff. We have to get out and we have to meet others. And I talked to a client just the other day and I said, you have to do that, because she was in a place where she said, I can't dare. I am not ready. I am not worthy. I will need to stay put. And I said, no, you have to get out there. You will never be ready and you will never feel worthy unless you go out and meet others and talk to others.
That's fact. Yeah. It's funny how working online has created a bunch of people that like to work online and a bunch of people that don't want to record video and go online and really, because the video, I believe, is the best way to engage your community.
Yeah.
But boy, making those videos, the first few are like, oh, did my hair grow back? No.
Yeah.
It's such a challenge for you to create that rich content that's just, it grabs people, right? It works. Texting is so confusing. Imagine building a community with texting, right?
Yeah.
The mistakes, the challenges, the interpretation, it would be huge. But video is so well suited for the community aspect, and yet it's for a lot of people starting up, I think it's the hardest thing. I coached one of our clients to put a video on those, at the top of those emails that you're sending out, and she told me, no, I asked them and they don't want that. But she's now starting to do that, and I believe we'll see a huge transformation
Yeah.
in the community, in the quality as well of the community.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And the weird thing about video is that it's always, if you look back at old videos of yourself, you're always going to cringe and say, how that was horrible. I'm going to look back at videos I'm doing today that I think is fairly good and say, oh. And I did the same when I look back at videos I did a couple of years ago. It's like, I have my first YouTube video. I'm going to post that somewhere again. It's like, and it's just put yourself out there, get out of that comfort zone, build that community, and be there, connect with people.
Years ago, our daughter has a television show for the last 20 years live. And one of the things I remember in researching or talking, I can't remember, one of the producers, one of the things that people prefer, they would prefer to die than get on stage. Mm-hmm. That was at the time. And I trust me, there's a lot of people still in that mindset. And, it's just, what are those small steps? What are those little tiny steps you can do? Send it to a friend first. They know you the best.
I don't know if a friend is the best advice, because I've done training all over the world. I've traveled and done training as in a past life, and I found that presenting and talking to strangers is much easier than presenting and talking to a group of your coworkers or a group of family. Like at my son's wedding, I said, well, thank you everybody for coming. I'll turn this over to my wife. Because I know that the family aspect for me is really tough. Yeah, it's really a tough one.
Yeah. I was thinking, one of the things we have the CoachBox Mastery Program, which is sort of a community, I would say. We're still fixing out some things, and you have to do that continuously. And one of the things I was just thinking about is we are working pretty hard on actually getting people to places where they want to be. And as with the game that I showed you, those 900 hours I've spent, I think the hours and the time we spend together, I think that's an important piece in all of this. And I honestly think if you are running a coaching business, or you're thinking about running a coaching business, or you are stuck working 9 to 5, but you have a coaching business, or you sell your time, or you're a coach or a consultant or trainer, and you want to get some help with that, reach out. Talk to me, talk to Doreen, talk to Alan. See if our community fits for you. It might necessarily not do that, but I honestly do think that it could be a really good fit for you. And I think that's the biggest one, if you want to help people. Because I don't know how to help anyone who doesn't want to help others. Really, I don't know. I have no idea. If you're selling, I don't know, poison for whatever reason, I don't know how to help you. But I think coming and joining the community that we're putting together, that we're building, of like-minded people actually trying to help and create a little bit piece of the world, making a little piece of the world better. And if we do that piece by piece, I think that's an important aspect of it. And we're coming up on Christmas. And we tend to talk about Christmas as one of the family holidays, obviously. That's what it is. And I want you to think about next year. Where's next year's going to take you? Where do you want to be? In what area do you want to be? Like, not physically, or you can move to a new area, but where do you want to be in your life? Not just the business side of it, but where do you want to take your life next year? What community do you want to spend that in? I think we're a fairly nice bunch of people. You might not necessarily think that, but I think most people would find us at least a tiny bit good. Come join us, have a conversation about it, see what it is. I will post a link in the description below here where you can check it out and book a call with us and have a conversation. We're not pushy, we're not salesy. You will meet these people like you see right now and talk to us like normal people. And I think really think ahead. Where are you headed? Is it going to be 900 hours of you struggling next year? Or 900 hours of you playing a game? Or 900 hours of you actually creating your life? Everyone talks about like inflation, prices are going up, World War III, all of these stuff everyone's talking about. Is that the community you want to be in? Is that the mindset you want to be in? Or where do you want to be? It's up to you. You can choose. We've had the best month like ever the last month. Life is not horrible. The world is not a horrible place. People have money. People want to do stuff. But you can choose to not think that's the case because you're in the wrong crowd. Is it time to transition into a different mindset, a different tribe to be in? And if not, when?
Yeah.
I think that's an important point. And sure, that's unsolicited sales. Sure, right there. But in all honesty, I think that's an important aspect. In what context do we want to operate?
Yeah. And Joel, seeing the progress that our clients have made, right? It's incredible. They come in with, scattered ideas, not knowing how to do this. We help them, focus that, really jump over those hurdles to get to the next point, and they're getting stuff done, right? 2023, they will be building their communities, right?
Yeah.
And those tight-knit communities built around their programs. I see it for every one of them that they're on the path to do that. It's important to realize that I'm different than Doreen. Doreen is different than Joel. And the value in that is that we provide different ways we can help our clients.
Yeah.
Right? That's huge. This small community of 3, plus we know, 5 or 6 other, 10 or 12 other groups and communities we can pull in to help our clients. So that focused energy of this small community can really help people to get to a point where in 2023 they're launching online platforms, they're building community, they're helping people, and you, like us, will only help people do good. There's enough people doing bad, promoting the bad stuff, that the good people need to kick in now and get their butts in gear. 2023 resolution is do something good for the world.
Yeah.
And that's what the internet gives you. We have access to the world. You're on the other side of the world, heading into the evening, and we're having our breakfast coffee. You're having you shouldn't drink coffee at this time of the night, my friend.
Coffee is the lifeblood of everything. So you're the second person within the hour telling me I shouldn't drink coffee. I'm going to drink some coffee just for the sake.
Yeah, you'll be tossing and turning tonight. I hope not. Sleep well, my friend. Sleep well.
I've got green tea.
Green tea. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do this right away. I'm going to post a link. So bear with me for a second. You go on and continue the discussion. I'm going to fix a thing. I'm going to jump off for just a second here and leave the stage to you guys. So give me.
Okay, and I'd like to add to what Alan says in the context of clients and their journey. And it's interesting because when you say really focus, I think that is a really big word that we have been able to support our clients to do, is really get focused, and not just focused on the business, but focused in life. And it's interesting how, helping someone realize that if they could be productive for 10 minutes versus going all over the place for 2 hours, then they have, or let's say half an hour, they have, a whole bunch of other time to spend on other priorities in their life. So the beautiful part of that is that it's a change of season. We've just come through it. We're going into Christmas. We're going into a new year. People all around the world with different seasonal issues going on. And I think the beautiful part about that is that when we're helping someone focus on their business, some of them are changing a hobby into a business. Some of them they're already in a business trying to refine it. It's not just about the business, it's about life. And we help in that as well, in the sense that, at least that's my coaching focus, is the roadblocks in the business side of it, in developing your program, in thinking about your offer, thinking about your landing page. How do you want to focus your attention and really get clear? But it's those skills are transferable to other things that they're doing in their life, and making sure that their priorities are balanced. So those things come up in the conversations. They have to. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about our team, is that we have this all-inclusive approach to getting through the challenges, and it's benefited our clients in many, many different ways.
And Dreen, to add on to that a little bit too, I see that I think all of our clients basically have either full-time or part-time jobs, and then are working on this on the side to build an online platform and to, get their good out there in the world. It's really amazing that, that they're doing that, but there will be a time when they launch and they're successful, where they can, really skinny down things, maybe leave a job, maybe, focus more on just their business and building their brand. And that's it's a steep climb in the beginning for those people that are working a full time or part time. But once they get to the point where they're, paying for ads, and they're driving traffic to their funnel, and they're managing their piece, and they've got a small team to help them, everything changes. Everything changes. It's big. Sorry, Joel, you're back.
No, not sorry at all. I fixed this because one of the things that I forgot to fix, because I'm human. The link below. So I had to jump off and fix that. And now it's there. So if anyone wants to actually have a conversation, no one is going to sell you on anything. Or we might decide to work together. That's a different story. But if you want to talk to us, you have a link below, coachboxmasteryprogram.com/talk to us. And let's have a conversation about that.
Sounds good,
if you
Joel.
want to do that, you have it right there. And if you don't, that's fine. Really. One of the things you talk about, running ads and building communities around that, I want to point something out here, because people think, this just popped into my head, it has nothing to do with the community side, but it has to do with doubt and fear. And I think that's part of it. We have a client right now that started running ads 13 days ago. He spent the staggering amount, are you with me? $130. Meaning he spends $10 a day running ads. Over $2,000 in sales.
Wow.
Amount of leads, or the amount of booked calls. Can you guess how many? 8.
10.
Nice.
8 booked calls.
Oh, 8.
8 booked calls. Close to 2 of those.
That's awesome.
It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to involve you struggling. It doesn't have to do any of that. It just has to do with you doing the right thing.
Yep.
And that kind of brings me back to the entire point of this. Don't waste your time on wrong stuff. Spend the time where it's most wisely spent, where you want to be. And do good stuff. I think, to me, it comes back to that all the time. Be part of something, right? Really. And it doesn't need to be business-wise. You can be part of our community. That's awesome. But you can be part of the local soup kitchen community, or you can be part of the local basketball club, or whatever it is, right? Do something. Get out.
Yeah, something else that's important about community too is that we're spending the time in community, on community. We're posting, we're engaging, we're doing what we can, but it's basically all for nothing, right? And it's good. It makes you feel good. It's like you're gaming. It's important we have those things in our life. But wouldn't it be nice if you could use your time in the community to help you build your business? Right? And that's what we help people to do, because You can go out and you can post all day and you can read all day and you consume all day, but your business will not grow unless you have a plan and a strategy to use that, to focus it, to, collect leads, to warm your clients, to book calls, right? You got to set all of that up
Yeah.
before you start driving ads to it and spending money on it, because it would be money spent to, to buy a rock.
Yeah. And I mean, I spent 35,000 for nothing. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Your wife will be slightly upset with all the savings. Don't do that.
Slightly, excuse me, from a wife perspective.
I knew she was a
35
keeper
grand,
when she came in and she said, "How do we solve this?"
Oh, nice.
Yes.
She's a good
Not
woman.
you. How do you solve this? No, how do we solve it? One thing I wanna address. We're coming up on Christmas. I'm thinking next week is going to be the next or the last Thursday masterclass we're doing before Christmas. I might go live at some point during the Christmas weeks, but I will go away. I will go away for a bit and have some time off and actually rest a bit. I average around 25 meetings a week, which is a pretty high, pretty high work rate, and I need some time off as well. Next week, I would love to talk about fear, talk about doubts, talk about limiting beliefs, and I would like to get some feedback, some ideas, some thoughts, some angles, some perspectives from you guys on fears, on doubt, on being worthy, and let's have a discussion about that. Because I do think that is one of the most destructive things we deal with. Not just the fear of failure, but rather the fear of success. I want to talk about that. I don't know if it makes sense to anyone else, but I think it's an important topic.
Joel, we could have a whole call just on the fear of success. I'm telling you, I've seen that in everybody we've worked with, and it's incredible. The fear of success is inbred in us. I don't know how, but it's inbred in us. It's really a huge hurdle to get over. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. And I want to really dive deep into that. Coming up next year, my goal is to bring in a couple of guests. And I have a couple of guests lined up already, but I also want some feedback. I asked last time, and I'm going to ask again, what do you want to learn? Doesn't have to do anything with anything we know. I'll be happy to bring in someone talking about Bitcoin. I'll be happy to bring in anyone talking about how to fry the best piece of meat on a grill outside somewhere during the winter. Whatever you want to learn. What do you need? How can we help? How can we serve? And I would ask you for a favor as well. Invite people to our community. If you think anyone would benefit from what we do and what we offer and what we talk about, invite them. Bring them with you. Tell them, show them the group, invite them to the group. Let's get them in. If they want to talk to us, if you know anyone who's struggling with these things or who you think might be a good fit to have a conversation about how to get set up, invite them. Be a good friend, be a good neighbor, be a good part of a community, and bring people to it if you think it adds value to people's life. I want to ask you that favor. I don't know if I think I've told people enough times, but I'm going to say this once more. Our goal, why I do this and why we started the business, is to improve the life of 10 million people before 2024. And I need your help, friends. I can't do this alone. And that kind of ties into the other thing that I was talking about. If you have goals, if you have dreams, and you can achieve them alone, you're not dreaming big enough. That's also why you need the community, why you need other people.
It's excellent.
I think it makes sense. And I think it was Rick Liven, I think is his name, who I heard that from. It's a wonderful, wonderful coach. I pulled a card the other day because I have my angel cards here because I'm one of those spiritual people. And I pulled a card the other day, and it was the card of success. And it was an interesting card because I've gotten it once before, I think, when I asked for guidance. And what it said is basically, you're going in the right direction and you're going to achieve success. The downside is dot dot dot. Well, there's really no downside, but remember you couldn't get there without people around you. It's lonely at the top, so remember you have other people there with you to share the success. And this gives me goosebumps because really that's what's been happening over the last year and the last 6 months. That's what's been happening. More and more, faster and faster. Let's continue that into next year. Yeah. And you guys are
That's
part of
great.
that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to bring out that part of that success, a large part of that success, is down to you, Doreen and Al. So thank you very much for the
Oh,
time.
thank you, Joel. Very kind.
And the success is interesting because the piece about success too is when you spoke about what the topic next week: fear, doubt, limiting beliefs, worthiness, that kind of, those sort of deeply embedded. I'll call them necessities.
Yeah.
Because the more we push them away, the more they grow.
Yeah.
And they can grow, sort of really deep and be so embedded. But the more we pay attention to the daily successes, the small little successes, coming back to some of the things we spoke about: focus, less distraction, prioritizing on what's really important in that moment, in that day, the next step.
Yeah.
It's part of what we want to avoid. We have to be aware of it. And that is, if I have fear of sharing my copy with someone, or, well, share it once. Ellen always tells me, test it, get some feedback. And as soon as you do that, sort of the fear has dissipated a little. It's not going to be completely gone, but a little bit. And like the video, all these small steps, I think it's so crucial. And that's, I think, the beauty of being in a community like our community, where, we learn from each other's strengths and challenges. And I think that's it's the wealth of our community.
Yeah.
And another point on that, Doreen, just to add to it a bit, is, and Joel as well, to add to what you said earlier, is that we've met some really helpful people. We've got a business group now in the U.S. that can really provide some significant benefits to U.S. clients. And, if they're there, you should get them. And we're already seeing, we just, brought that into a few of our clients last week, and they're already seeing, we're getting feedback. This is good. This is good. Yeah, really exciting. So, if we can help in any way, just ask, suggest it. And if we don't know someone, we'll find someone to come in and help. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
That's a legit offer.
Yeah. One thing I've been struggling with a bit is asking for help. And a friend of mine said this, and I think this was a really profound thing. He said, if you are not asking other people to help you, you're actually robbing them of an opportunity to do one of the most important things to a lot of people, actually helping someone who needs help. So don't be too egoistic, and don't ask people so they have the opportunity to give you the help you need. And that kind of messed me up. It's like, yeah, that's really true. You have to give people the opportunity to help you, because that's one of the most beautiful things there are, at least to a lot of people. Me being one of those people, and Alan and Doreen as well, I know, is one of those people, or some of those people. Don't be afraid to ask. You are not strong alone, or you're strong, but you could be much stronger together. So ask and give people the opportunity.
That's really got a weird twist to it. I found the same thing with testimonials.
Yeah.
Right? Why would I ask someone for a testimonial? Well, it does two things, right? It gives me their endorsement, but it also gives them a stage to present their ideas and their side of of what the benefits we provide are. So, it's weird how that twists around to help both parties.
Yeah.
Right. So asking someone for a testimonial is actually good for them and good for you. It's a win-win for sure. Yeah. And if you've got a community, that's where you engage. You get that. Sorry, Joel.
No, I was going to say, don't be afraid to ask, because sometimes we're afraid to ask because we don't want to know the answer.
Yeah.
But trust me, the people who didn't like the thing you did, you already heard their story. if it's all quiet on the Western Front, No one is that upset. So ask them. The best thing that happened to me when I was teaching, when I was doing like business teaching stuff, was when you had a group of people and you spent the entire day teaching or showing or doing whatever you did. And by the end of the day, someone walks up and they said, "Hey, thank you. This was really great." If only one person did that, it made the entire day, because then you know, all right, they probably enjoy this. And this person so much that he actually walked up and he said, "Thanks."
Yes.
If it's all quiet, it tends to be good, but it's better to actually hear from other people. Ask them.
There's another aspect I think that just popped into my head that's really important for people to realize. When you're engaging and building a community, you haven't really succeeded until you have, guess what?
I know the answer.
Your first
That
hater.
first hater.
Yeah, that's an important part of building a community is people disagreeing with you, people having other opinions, right?
Yeah.
We're people, we're smart, we're big, that we're allowed to have different opinions. That doesn't mean you can't be in the community. Now, if you're doing hate and stuff, then there's rules, but generally that you have to accept that in a community there will be people that have disagreements and think differently than you.
Mm-hmm. And I find with that thinking differently than me, I get richer because I've paid attention and I can see things with a different perspective. And I think that's, taking that time to have that disagreement or that discussion, I think really, to me, makes a stronger bond, stronger relationship.
And the best thing is, talking about haters, who talks the most about you? The hater, obviously. And what is your biggest problem in your business right now? Not enough people knowing what to do and who you are. So let the haters spread the word for you. They think you're doing they're doing damage to you. They're doing the exact opposite, because they're letting people know you exist. People look at you and they find you, and you have more people who like what you do than have people who hate what you do.
Yeah.
They are awesome. More haters. Can I get some more haters?
Bring it on. Yeah, we need them.
Bring them on. Bring them on.
That's the reason we're not growing our community. We don't have enough haters.
All nice comments. Can we get some more hate in here? No more hate.
No.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle here thinking,
It's the best thing about, if you have a YouTube channel or if you have a Facebook group, or if we get bad comments here, we can either choose to remove them, which I suggest not doing, leave them for other people to see that this person might need a coach. Maybe some anger management. That's a good lead for some of you who needs that. So leave them be. All comments, it's talking about YouTube, by the way, all comments on a video helps you get seen. The more people engage with it, doesn't matter what they write, the more people who write on a video you put up, the more YouTube is going to show it.
That's right. And the other thing too is, there's a couple components here. Words are imperfect. I can put out a word and someone thinks I'm hating on them, and there's real. I get what you're saying about the real haters, but there's, culture is different. We come from different languages, different, we have some clients who are being coached in English, and yet they have other languages as their main languages. And it can be seen as a struggle, but guess what? It's going amazing, because we're working together on understanding each other, and we're both growing, and again, it's huge. And sometimes it's just misunderstandings that create haters.
Yeah.
And until they really get in and get to know, it's different.
Yeah, for sure. Something else about that is that when you're running a program and you're finished the program, it's been a hard 6 weeks or 3 weeks, 3 days, whatever, workshops. You have to ask for comments to get that feedback, to get that the good news and the bad news, and you can improve your program based on the bad news. It's not it's constructive. You've got to look for that. And that's another reason to have a community. So I tied it back into community, right? Because you need a place to test that, how did you like that program? Is there anything that we can do to improve that program?
Yeah.
Was it too long? Was it too short? So having that community, that sounding board is really important.
Yeah. I do think that that's so important. And I had a realization about 2 weeks ago. I was in a car with a friend of mine, and I used to be geographically at a place where people did not talk about business because it was something bad and ugly, and I had to leave that because I love business. Can be there. And I had this conversation with this friend of mine, and he just made an exit from a fairly big e-com business that they've been running. And we could talk about business without any filters. It was all right because we are both business people. We could talk about it. It was nothing bad. It was money discussions, talk about stuff, and it was nothing bad about it. It was just part of the talks we had. And again, it comes back to me all the time. Surround yourself with the people you want to be with. But the hardest thing, and I talked about this actually earlier today, one of the hardest things is your family. I love my brother, of course. He's a fantastic person. Nor not, of course, but I do love my brother. And he said, "Are you really going to do that? Well, that's going to be horrible. What if you fail? What if that happens? What if that?" All of these things. And I said, "I don't need that. I need your support. I hear you're worried, but I need your support. Can you just support me in this?" And part of the community side of this is you will need to give up some people in your community. And the hardest part is telling your closest family members, because all they want to do is want to keep you in the place where you are right now because it's safe and it's comfortable and they know where you are and everything is fine. But look around you right now. If you're happy with what you have, stay there. If you're happy with it, if you have everything you need, everything is perfect, stay there. If you're dreaming about something more, you have to change something. And telling your wife or telling your brother or your sister or your dad, whoever it is, that thank you for all the concern. I hear all of the doubt. I hear all of the fear you're telling me right now. But I don't need that. Let's never talk about that again. I want the support because I'm following my path. It's an important piece. Surround yourself with people who push you forward. Don't stick around with people who drag you back. And of course, I'm not saying give up your brother or your wife, but I'm tell them and ask them politely to support you instead of breathing all their doubt and fear and scarcity mindset and all of these things into you. You can do it. To quote a famous business. I think it's an important piece. Surround yourself with the people who push you forward. I think that's my final thought on that.
That's awesome. Yeah, agreed. Definitely, surround yourself with the people that support you, and also be cautionary about the people that don't support you about, because if you're going to get bad advice, you can get bad advice. But come and talk to us because we are very encouraging. We help you. We build success. It's a hard thing to do, but you can find that with this team.
Mm-hmm.
And the good side with that is we failed like multiple times, failed really hard. And with failure comes learning. And with learning comes experience. And with experience comes some kind of skill and knowledge. Yes. So most definitely, I agree with you, Alan. Come talk to us.
I think the word you mentioned, failure, is absolutely so important because we need to have failures. It's huge, but how quickly can we adjust and not make it deeper and deeper and deeper? And, how do you actually pay attention to the small failures and build on those failures and learn from it? Because, when you spoke about family, it's true in the sense that they've seen the failures. They're in your immediate experiences, and there's ups and downs and deep ups, hopefully, but or high ups, because the successes as much as the failure, you got to find some successes or else it's difficult for family or people close to you. So it's interesting you say that, to have a community that's there when you're in the failure mode.
Yeah.
is huge to help you quickly see how you can move forward and take either small steps or giant steps, depending where you're at. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most successful person fails the most.
And I have a saying, I want to be the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah.
I really do. And I had to change my location physically, my location mentally, where I am mentally, and I had to move and switch this. Because as we grow, if we're the smartest person in the room, there's no growth. We have to step out. We have to become the dumbest person in the room. And then we have to get past that. And then we have to get to the place where we're the dumbest person again. And I'm saying that not because anyone is dumb, but we have to get into the mindset of learning and failing and being something bigger. I think it's an important piece in all of that.
Yes, and what popped into my mind, I know we're coming up to the end of the hour, but one of the things that popped up in my mind was when you buy a house, you don't buy the biggest if you want to invest, you buy the smallest and look to grow. And that sort of an analogy can be done in many, many different ways.
Yeah. Before we end today, I want to do a shout out to our Swedish people or viewers here. So I'm going to switch to Swedish if anyone wants to hear how that sounds for just a minute. So I'm going to switch over. Hej på er allihopa! Är ni i Sverige och söker community och gemenskap? You heard community came up and looking for that. Now I switching back. Om du letar efter den communityn så håller vi på att sätta ihop den communityn åt er. Är du nyfiken och undrar vad det är för någonting? Kommentera nedanför videon så hör vi av oss och berättar lite mer. Den communityn är tänkt att faktiskt bygga upp oss svenska företagare på ett helt nytt sätt. Jag kommer dela mer om det här sen, men jag vill ändå bara smyga in den här lilla sneak peeken så att den finns där. Kommentera så hör jag av mig. Känns det okej? Toppen.
Totally agree.
That was weird because I switched without thinking about it.
That's
It's amazing
awesome.
you can do that.
I mean, I'm surprised you don't switch to Swedish. I mean, everyone does. It's not the
That
case.
would be a good thing. That'd be quite impressive.
I can do a little in French, but I don't think I could coach that well in French.
I have a neighbor who doesn't speak Swedish or English. He speaks a little bit German. Our conversations are quite stale because I only studied German for 4 years. I mean, 4 years is nothing. So our conversation is basically Auf Wiedersehen, Guten Tag, and that's it. So, my friends, thank you for a nice conversation as always. Anyone watching, I hope you enjoy this conversation and feel free to join in. If anyone wants to join into the conversation, you're most welcome. This is not a closed stage, it's a most open stage. The goal, as always, is to help you move forward. And if we've helped you do that in any way, shape, or form, leave a comment, leave a like, invite people, bring them into the community so we can grow together. I think that's an important aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Any final words, my friends? Or any final word? No. Any last words for for today? Let's change it to this.
No, thank
No,
you.
enjoy.
Have a wonderful
Enjoy every conversation. That's what
Yes.
that to me, like, you know.
Yes, build your community. Go forth and build your community.
Mhm.
I love that. So have a good day, guys, and we'll